Now, heavy downpour in some parts of the northeast region this morning has rendered parts of the area flooded. Heavy rains on Wednesday caused massive flooding that submerged inundated homes and farmlands. The rains also destroyed bridges and roads in 62 communities across the region. Now, speaking after arriving in the region, Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, Nana Ajuman Prempeh, said the ongoing assessment and rescue efforts are being hampered in some communities where the roads were cut off. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko reports from the northeast region.
Following the devastation caused by flooding as a result of heavy downpour last Wednesday in the northeast region, there has been a barrage of activities to restore normal living. The flooding displaced people, destroyed their properties and damaged public amenities, including roads and utility poles. Some of the cut-off roads include the Walewale-Nalirugu Road, where the rains coupled with excessive water from a collapsed dam destroyed 3 bridges. Hundreds of travelers and motorists became stranded, whilst many others resorted to desperate measures by passing through the floodwaters to reach their destinations. On Thursday, under the supervision of the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Stephen Jalula, and the Regional Minister, Idana Zakari, 2 contractors commenced work to build a temporary bridge to resume traffic and lessen the plight of commuters on the road, which is one of the busiest in the region, extending from Walewale to the border with Togo in the Bunkurugu-Napanduri district. On Friday, the Director General of the Disaster Management Organization arrived in the region with relief items in response to the appeals for support for the victims. The items airlifted from Accra included several sets of buckets, drinking cups, bags of rice, and other food items. The items were received in Walewale by the Regional Minister in the company of Walewale MP, the MCE, and several local leaders of the governing party. Speaking to the media, the NADMO Director General said although the organization was still conducting the assessment of the situation and that several communities are still unreachable, there was a need to deliver the relief items due to the magnitude of the destruction.
We are also here to inspect, to look at what is going on. Already, NADMO is on the ground doing assessment. We are unable to do the assessment and give us accurate report because in some places the bridges have been washed away and therefore they cannot go there to even do the assessment. But we have some level of knowledge about what is happening, and therefore we cannot sit in the ground and look at the affected victims suffer without giving them some help. So
he also assured that more items will be delivered to the victims in the coming days, as he called on the regional authorities to ensure swift and fair distribution of the relief packages.
We are here. The items you see here are not the items government is bringing the people of the field. There are a lot of items, but because of the emergency situation, the Ghana Air Force assisted NADMO, and we've been able to bring a lot of disaster relief items to Tamale Airport. So the Air Force and the helicopter, they are bringing it in base. From tomorrow, a lot will be coming again. Some other vehicles are also bringing some.
Regional Minister expressed utmost satisfaction with the response from the national authority and also expressed his gratitude to the President and his Vice, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
The response is so swift. Just 3 days ago, this incident happened. Yesterday, the contractors were there to start work. The media were there to carry the message across. Today, the Director General has come from Accra, airlifted some relief items and has brought them to us. This shows that we have a President and a Vice President who have a soft spot for humanity. This response tells us that we are in very good and safe hands.
The Member of Parliament for Walewale and Gender, Children and Social Protection Minister, Hajia Laribazwira Abudu, also stated that she was delighted by the quick provision of the items. From Walewale, Ilyasu Tanko.
Now, the St. John Mary Vianney Parish of Asocharis Catholic Church has celebrated its remarkable 80th anniversary, urging its congregation to reignite their fervor for soul winning amid a decline in membership Amidst the commemoration, Most Reverend John Kobina-Louise, Auxiliary Bishop of Accra, highlighted the significant decline in the Catholic Church membership due to the COVID-19 pandemic. JoyNews Elvis Washington has more in the following report.
Established in 1953, the St. John Mary Vianney Catholic Church, the spiritual nucleus of the Sudoku Catholic community, has achieved commendable progress over 8 decades, making notable strides in education, healthcare, and charitable missions. Addressing the congregation during the anniversary, the Auxiliary Bishop of Accra, Most Reverend John Kobina-Louise, emphasized the urgent need to rejuvenate the youth's engagement within the church.
What is happening is that some people are poaching the youth in senior high schools and in the tertiary schools. From the last but one census, which was, I think, around the year 2010, we had about 13% across the country, 13% of the population being Catholics. In the recent one, 2021, because of the COVID, the numbers have gone down to 10-point-something%. So 3 percentage points knocked off, and that means a lot.
Now, Bishop of the Damango Diocese, Most Reverend Peter Paul Angkier, has expressed worry about the rising issues of bribery, corruption, dishonesty, among others, which he says appears to have been legalized by society. According to him, the canker poses a threat to moral values in society. Speaking at the biennial conference of the Catholic Organization for Social and Religious Advancement, Bishop Peter Paul Angkier called on Christians not to be despaired, but to stand up to restore the lost moral values. JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The 20th National Delegates Conference of the Catholic Organization for Social and Religious Advancement, COSRA, had in attendance delegates from all 16 regions and dioceses in the country. Bishop of the Damango Diocese, Most Reverend Peter Paul Rev.Angkier, in his keynote address, averred that the world of today, not excluding Ghana, is plagued with different crimes and evils manifesting in different ways. Most Reverend Angkier lamented that the aforementioned crimes and evils are not committed by people who have no knowledge of God, but Christians. He opined that this poses a challenge to the moral values of the society, urging members of COSRA not to despair, but stand up as a synodal church to restore the roles and values.
And we know, we are all aware of the difficulty in living a just life in our society of today, where bribery and corruption seems to be a legalized form, falsehood, dishonesty, armed robbery, stealing, misappropriation of funds meant for others, or other things, cheating, indecency, all these things. These are all rampant. These pose a challenge on our moral values.
He also spoke about the issue of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values, commending the promoters of the bill for standing up to ensuring that nothing untoward happens.
We as Christian shepherds commend those lawmakers who are leading in promoting the bill for the proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values. I was in the US when that bill was passed, and very interesting enough, some people said, Bishop, it is Africa that will save the world. And I congratulate your politicians, your parliamentarians, for being so faithful to humanity. That said, I want to say, it is not only the LGBTQAI++ that is threatening the marriage. But there are some of us, our lackadaisical attitude
Now, Vice-Chancellor of the Dr. Hila Liman Technical University, Professor Elia Sole, says technical and vocational education is crucial for the development of every country. Speaking at the maiden open day of the university aimed at wooing students to TVET institutions, Professor Sole said persons with TVET skills have the advantage of establishing their own business rather than seeking for white-collar jobs, which are difficult to come by. JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam report from Wa.
Vice-Chancellor of the Dr. Hila Liman Technical University, DHLT, Professor Rev.Angkier Sole painted a mental picture to the participants on what to expect, urging them not to lower their expectations.
So what I'm saying is that don't get deceived by the environment. It is what goes on here. The certificate that you will get, which will enable you to get a job that matters. And we are capable of giving you that. We are capable of giving you the skills that you need. We have all the programs that you need here. Engineering, various types of engineering programs. As I said, few facilities, but they are dense. There's a lot of things inside. You go to the workshop, you see a lot of machines. Some of the machines we have here are not found in the older universities. Ultra-modern facilities sitting there. So don't just be deceived by the few buildings you are seeing. There's a lot going on.
The Maiden Open Day program of the DHLT is being organized by the Directorate of Technical and Vocational Training of the University under the auspices of the Commission for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, CTVET. Dr. Martin Donani is the Director of TVET at DHLT.
The idea of TVET is industrialization. Our motto is TVET for industrialization. The whole purpose is you get trained and you move into the industry. You don't queue up for job applications. You create a job and you employ all others. So there's great hope for TVET prospects.
The program affords the participants, majority of whom drawn from TVET institutions in the region, including the Keleo and Basel Technical and Vocational Institute, to learn and acquaint themselves with the programs that are offered at the university. By so doing, it will therefore give them a clearer view, understanding, and a guide to the selection of the programs they want to pursue in future, and seeing DHLT as a university that can propel them to achieve that dream. They were conducted around the various exhibition centers and fed with the needed information about the items on display.
I'm in the person of Bashir Abdul Fattah, and so in terms of our project works, usually we have architecture and engineering drawings, and this is a three-story, single-story building. We have the various floor plan, we have the sections, the elevations, and those of what? The roofing drawings. We start by taking what? When you come into this institution, we take you through the manual way of doing it. Then from the manual way, we upgrade you into the software aspect of it. There is an AutoCAD drawing. From this drafted work, we now brought it into a software program. Then from the software, the only way you can visualize it is by bringing you this. And you can all see how marvelous this is. Okay, so when you are standing in front of this building, it's because of we, the civil engineers, that you are in here.
A raincoat is made from sachet, pure outer rubber, the waist one. So nowadays the waist around our towns and cities are becoming. So instead of us throwing them away, we decided to come out with something meaningful. And instead of us going to buy from the market like those fabric, using those fabric, we decided to use the waste. And then with this, then the waste on the roadside will be reduced.
And be moving it. And I don't know, they seem to be separated just like what they use the pot. The seeds, the whatever seeds from the cells, the cotyledon. No, when you boil the seeds or when you cook them, you have to now have to separate the cells from the seeds itself. So the local woman will use a pot like this with sand inside there. Yeah, so instead of using this one and bending down, Then you gather pour inside here with water here. Then the woman will just stand and be moving here. The disease will be separated. So this is fabricated by us at the department.
Some of the students share their thoughts on the open day.
I'm in fashion department. When I came, I could see a whole lot about my department, and even if I'm to learn hard, I can come here and do other things to build up my career.
I have also learned, and I've seen things, marvelous things. I've seen that even if you come here and you will not depend on government to employ you again, because this alone can make you earn living. And I've also seen a lot of things that they've made out of plastic waste, because nowadays the waste is too much in the country, and now I've seen that they can use it to make something beneficial to the country.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Well, Ghana's housing deficit reached over 2 million in 2021. This as a result of lack of decent and affordable housing. A lack of sustainable designs and building materials, coupled with political influences, has led to housing policy failure and public housing project delays. At the KNUST's Builders Idea Challenge event, public and private housing agencies have been directed to invest in sustainable building designs and materials to address the deficit. Clinton Yeboah has more in the following report.
According to Ghana's housing policy projections, 5.7 million rooms would have been needed by the end of 2020 to bridge the housing gap and accommodate emerging households. This would still be aiming for an optimal occupancy rate of 2 individuals per bed to meet the current housing demand. Over 100,000 housing units are needed each year. This has influenced several seemingly controversial government housing interventions, like the Seglem Affordable Housing Project. Prospective builders and architects gathered for the Builders Idea Challenge 2023 edition of Faculty of Arts and Built Environment of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to share ideas on sustainable housing and architectural planning solutions. Member of the evaluation panel of the challenge, Akufo-Addo, admonished the government and housing agencies to invest in these ideas and adopt sustainable models of housing.
When students begin to come up with ideas such as using coconut coil and coconut shell and using palm kernel shell to develop models and to develop blocks where we are looking at sustainability, I think that is something that needs a lot of research into. Be able to expand our research base, be able to do a lot of things for this country in the built environment, which will go a long way to help in our construction industry that employs a lot of people. 2, it will help us in sustainable building, which is very, very key in this country. Currently, the president says that the president has gone to cut short for the construction of a new asset housing project. So now we have left Seglemi and then we are going into a new housing project. The question is that if students are coming up with this nice research, couldn't we have incorporated it into the new housing that we want to put?
The Builders Idea Challenge 2023 edition has themes using recycling materials for sustainable housing, sustainable community design, building safe and vibrant nightlife in our city, and low-income versus student residents, affordable housing. The challenge encourages students to think creatively, collaborate and develop innovative solutions to real-world problems related to architecture, urban planning and sustainability. President of the Faculty of Built Environment Student Society, Francis Kwame Fosu, indicates the competition will challenge students to fit into the architectural industry.
As an association, we saw that we don't only want to base on the theoretical aspect of what we learn in the class, but rather we want to bring it into practicality of what the students are studying in the class. So we decided to come up with this initiative to shape the students to actually come up with these models so that they can fit into the industry when they are out.
The challenge, which is in its second edition, awarded 8,000 Ghana cedis, 5,000 Ghana cedis and 3,000 Ghana cedis to the winner, first and second runner-up teams, respectively, for successfully completing 3 pitches stages. Team Synergy, winners of the competition, spoke to JoyNews.
On KNU's campus depends on shuttles for their transportation, and this creates a lot of pressure on the shuttles. So we are inventing a linkage from business school to B9, because we have done enough work with much evidence to show that indeed the project is viable and should be implemented by the VC or the management of the university.
Reporting for JoyNews, Clinton Yeboah.
You're watching JoyNews Prime with me, Akufo-Addo. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Welcome back. Now, lawyer and marriage counselor Kweku Pinto says the formula for a successful marriage is for men to always make their money available and not allow their partners to take up the role when it comes to financial responsibilities. According to him, such attitude will easily collapse a marriage. Mr. Pinto has therefore advised young men planning to marry to let this be their guiding principle. He spoke at the Joy FM forum themed Becoming Mr. and Mrs. All You Need to Know Before Marriage.
As for the money matter, I don't want to go there, but the young men here, please listen to me. I have a formula for young men who go into marriage. Make your money available. If the woman brings some money, thank God. But never ever get into the point where you're going to play tit for tat. Your marriage will collapse. Okay. This is Africa. This is Ghana. Your family, the other family, that's two families. You can never agree on how we should use the money in respect of various.
Thank you very much.
Now, father of former BBC World News presenter Komla Dumont, Professor Ernest Dumont, has disclosed that he visits the tomb of his son and wife almost every day. Speaking in an interview with Lexis Bill on Personality Profile, the former executive secretary of the National Identification Authority said the pain of the death of his son and wife still lingers.
We lost Komla a few years ago, who had not only become a huge asset to Ghana, but also to the African continent.
Yes.
How has it been since his passing?
Can I ever say how it feels? Almost every day, tears don't show, but the crying still goes on. And I make it a duty every morning to visit their tombs. My late wife and Komla, they are in the same place behind my window. So I go there and say a little prayer and commit them to the bosom of the Lord and ask them to intercede for those of us who are still alive so that the memory will still continue. If you come into my house and you come into the living room, I have the picture of my late wife and Komla staring me everywhere. But mind you, whilst I was doing the public service for NIA, I lost my wife, I lost my older sister 6 months after my wife had passed away. I lost my younger sister 6 months after the older sister had passed away. And about 4 years later, Komla also passed away.
Well, that's all we have for you on JoyNews Prime. With me, Razak Musbao. There's more news on My Joy Online.